Welcome all, thanks for joining. Today we're going to talk about the time advantage when it comes to attaining financial independence. Now, some of the most common concerns when it comes to coming towards financial freedom is questions like when is the right time to get started? Or don't I need to make a little more money first? The financial freedom sometimes is painted as something that is only achievable for the rich rather than some of us who are on low incomes. Well, guess what? It turns out yesterday was the right time to get started. There is a power in starting small and starting early, especially for those of us who don't have any major financial resources and aren't expecting to get any in the future, like, say, an inheritance or a large paycheck. It's very important to start early with the small amounts that you can and gradually increase, and that will help you work towards your goals in a less tedious manner. Now, I'll give an example of, as we see in the graph, two young people. You have Tom and Jane, and say they all started out at about 21 after school, and they're both saving towards, say, a down payment on a house. Tom, with the red line, starts making small, consistent contributions over the period of 6 years, and in the end, you can see his amount gradually increasing. Whereas Jane waits until the fourth year to start making contributions, and even though she's putting aside relatively large amounts of money at the end of the day, $600 more than Jane in the end. And so that shows the power of starting small and early, because at the end of the day, you're able to put away something gradually without it being too tiresome for you and still achieve your goal in the long. A little more on why starting early matters. First, you get to achieve your goals with minimal efforts. Now, again, once if you know that in life you do not have a high-paying career that will give you a lump sum of cash that you can put towards your goals, this it really helps for you to instead put aside minimal amounts of money slowly over time, and those will grow towards your goal. That also means you don't have to press yourself too hard to be able to save towards a goal. You can do it minimally and still achieve what you wanted to in the end with a set time frame. Second is it helps to build effective financial systems or financial habits. If you're able to understand and get used to the idea of putting aside, starting with small amounts of money. If, say, for example, you're putting aside $50 a month for the first, say, 2 years of your career, it then becomes easy for you in the long run as your income increases to grow the habit of putting aside even larger amounts of money. If you're putting aside $50, then it will be easy for you to put aside $500, because it's a habit that you've already developed, and therefore it becomes sort of automatic to you. The idea of saving towards your goals, the idea of saving towards your investments, and all that. And then third is it gives you room to make changes or alterations to your plan. And this is very useful, especially if you're starting out young. Starting out early means that you can make changes to your goals or to the time target that you wanted to achieve them, because you have enough time out for you to make those changes, compared to if you start later on. That means you're sort of in a firefighting mode, in the sense of like you're fixed and you sort of have no choice but to meet that goal. So we'll look at a few tips on how to make the time advantage work for you. First is pick consistent contribution you have to make, and then decide on what will be comfortable for you, but also one that will work with the time frame for which you want to achieve your goal. Second is set up separate accounts. That is, have a separate account for the money that you're putting towards your financial goals. It cannot be the same as where your income is going, where your spending is going out of, because there then it's more likely for you to divert the money to what it's not meant for. So have separate accounts, and even go ahead and name them. That if it's, say, for a big trip, name it the trip, or say for a house, name it a house account. Then third, set it and forget it. That is basically automate the payments. Set them that way. Once your income comes into the account, the payment towards your goals goes out fast. That means you also get used to the amount that you have to work with after the contribution towards your financial goals has left, and you don't even think about using that money. Then, fourth and most important is then gradually increase your contributions. You can set a time period. It could be every 6 months or every year, where depending on the increase of your income, you can then review how much you're putting towards your goals. Say if your income has increased by a certain percentage, then decide how much more you want to put towards your goals. And that way you'll be able to achieve them in a slow, gradual, and comfortable manner. Hope this helps. Till next time.